Welcome to Talking Carts, the Consumer Reports podcast that helps you shop smarter, save more, and feel good about every purchase. I'm Tanya Christian.
And I'm Brian Vines. And this is
Talking
Talking
Carts.
Carts. Attention holiday shoppers. We're walking the aisles in search of entertaining and hosting tips and tricks to make the holidays bright on a budget. And whether you're the host, the plus one, or the last minute, can I bring something guest? We've got ways to help you enjoy the season of giving without losing your mind or your money. Because the stress is real, but so are the insights here on Talking Carts, entertaining with ease. You've got this. Because we got you.
Now, Brian, are you somebody who entertains most holidays? Or are you that person who is going over to somebody's house and like, can I just bring something?
Oh no, I'm gonna be at my mama's house. We during the big holiday, I'm always on a flight to Chicago, but I guess during the all the space between Thanksgiving and we celebrate Christmas, there's maybe drinks or something at my house. I always have this idea that I'm gonna have a dinner party with people who are grown up and wearing hard bottom shoes
Right.
that they have to take off at the front door.
Yeah, exactly.
Are gonna come
So make sure you wear the proper socks, right? To go with the outfit. Because you're going to look nice when you're taking them shoes off at the door.
This is news you can use because your whole face and existence will crack if you thought you were looking good and you get to that one friend's house and you have to take off your shoes and they can see them holy socks and all of the sins that you thought you were hiding. Not very impressive. We will never let that happen to you at Talking Carts.
No, that's why I have these roll up flats. So that even when I get to somebody's house, it's I still have a little bit of a hard bottom,
right,
to go through the house in.
But listen, are you off subject, on subject? Are you all shoes off household?
We are.
Okay, but this is the real kicker. Do you provide a slipper at the door, or do you just expect your people to come in not ashy and ready for shoe off lifestyle?
Yeah, so I have a basket of slippers. And so the people who come to my house regularly have their name on them. They're wrapped up with a rubber band so they know every time they come to my house, they can take it out. If I'm having guests come over, a lot of times, and I'm saying a large number of guests,
Sure.
What I'll do is just socks, cute little socks.
That you provide for them, little dollar store special socks that you provide.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's typically what I do. But as far as going to your mama's house for Thanksgiving, are you cooking anything or are you just showing up?
I much like our first guest, who maybe we could tease a little bit right now. You know him as Royale Eats to millions of Instagram and TikTok followers. Royale is going to be joining us, and we're going to chop it up later. But I learned cooking at the hip of my grandparents, my grandmother specifically. I was around in the kitchen when she was cooking, and this little bio of Brian, my grandmother was blind and I was a helper. So I would be there doing things. And she, as a blind person, right. As a blind person, she was a master of adaptation. So, she would put her she would put her foot in it.
She put her foot in it.
She would put her finger in the measuring cups and hit the right spot for pouring in her mouth. But I was the sous chef and I was doing all the things. So I learned how to cook. So I, not to brag, am the only one who knows how to make my grandmother's sweet potato pie.
Ooh.
Which I do not eat. I don't like nobody's sweet potato pie. Sorry, not sorry. But I know how to make my grandmother's sweet potato pie because I was in there with her making it every year. So
that's your go-to. That's when somebody asks you to bring something, is that your go-to?
No, because I don't like it. So I never think of making it because I don't enjoy sweet potato pie. Don't take away my black card. And I don't like pumpkin pie either. So don't get it twisted. But I'm not like a sweet potato pie guy. I like my Auntie Loretta's peach cobbler, and my sister Yoshida makes a fantastic banana pudding, as I'm told, but I don't eat that either. But I'm
Don't feel
sailing
bad.
up
I
very
don't do
well.
sweet potato pie either.
And then there were two.
And then there
Tanya,
were two. I
people
don't
are
do it.
turning us off right now because they're like, "Oh, they were, I thought they was for the culture." You know, eat sweet potato pie, but I don't like it. I
Yeah.
never have I liked it. But
No, it's definitely it's not my thing. Yeah. And
yeah,
I'm okay with that.
but I cook. I cook. I'm in charge of the turkey every year at
Okay.
Thanksgiving, and I'm in the mix. Like I can do all of the things. So I've been around. So yeah, I'm a very good like let's make it happen Thanksgiving. I brine, I wake up, I smoke a turkey. I do all the things.
Now,
Toast
are
the
you the
bread.
type who's in the supermarket the night before getting all the ingredients? Or are you somebody who is looking for the sales leading up to the big day so you can save a couple dollars on
Listen,
all the things that you're going to make?
have we met?
We haven't. And you're so much like me. That's why I'm like, Brian probably in there with me day of. Like Thanksgiving morning, 6 a.m., ShopRite's open. I'm like, let me in so I can get all these
No.
ingredients.
No, Tanya, I come from people. My mother is in the aisle in March buying corned beef, talking about, oh, I'm going to put this in the freezer. We're going to have corned beef at Thanksgiving. So I'm very much of that spirit. So it's like I shop all year. As a matter of fact, I saw a study
Well,
that
you do love
said,
a sale. That is true.
yes, that's what I
Yeah.
mean about the have we met. But
That part, yeah.
I did see a study that said from the folks at Campbell Soup, actually, because they were talking about Americans, most Americans start their shopping for holiday about 8 days before Thanksgiving. They start their grocery shopping 8 days before Thanksgiving. And I promise you, like I said, in March, when it's Luck of the Irish time, St. Patrick's Day, and those corned beef go on sale, one is going in the deep freezer for Thanksgiving Day. So this is a thing. But also, Tanya, corned beef is a part of our Thanksgiving table. So I wonder, that's one sort of non-traditional thing that we do at my Thanksgiving. So I wonder if there's something on your Thanksgiving table that other people might come over and be like, y'all eating this at Thanksgiving?
Why is it there? So, okay. Long story short, when I was
Oh,
working at another magazine many years ago, I remember talking about what we were going to have for Thanksgiving. And I mentioned potato salad. And I remember my work mom at the time looked at me and was like, I don't really think that that's a Thanksgiving thing. And I was like, really? Is it not? I just assumed that it was. I mean, we always did potato salad at Thanksgiving. Now, the truth is, Brian, my parents are not from this country. And
right.
I feel like we just make it up as we go. You know what I mean? There is no
I love
handbook
that.
of like,
I
this
love
is
that.
what's supposed to be on your Thanksgiving menu. So we just make whatever. And potato salad is one of those things. Now, I don't know
Listen,
if some people are like, oh no, that's totally normal. But that day I learned that maybe not everyone has potato salad.
really?
We have an amazing guest with us today. He's culinary creator Devon Mosey, also known as Royal
Royale
Eats.
Eats.
He
Yes.
has a following on TikTok and Instagram, and he's also out with a new book. So, Devon, thank you so much for being with us. Welcome to Talking Carts.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
What is on the definitive soul food Thanksgiving table, Royal Eats?
Okay, so I definitely say, like side dishes are a big thing. So you got to have like collard greens, cabbage, mac and cheese, of course, candy yams, um, probably hush puppies or cornbread, probably do
Okay.
both. One thing that's big in North Carolina is North Carolina style, particularly Northeast Carolina barbecue. It's like a chopped barbecue with like a vinegar and red pepper based sauce that's going to go in there. Then you got to have fried chicken, and then an assortment of desserts, turkey, ham. If you eat pork, and like I said, chitlins if you eat pork. So yeah, that's like a little sample spread in case somebody else want to add some other stuff in there, or even turkey wings in case we don't do a whole turkey.
Are we doing potato salad or are we leaving it off?
Oh yeah, potato salad. It's in there.
See, okay, love it.
Come through potato salad. You're the cook in the room. Is there a difference, or what is the difference between dressing and stuffing?
I mean, I feel like universally, like they're pretty much the same thing, but typically when I hear people refer to dressing, that's when, they make it like homemade and add like the trimmings of like turkey and stuff in there, put an egg in it and a whole bunch of different spices and seasonings and, bake it on its own. Whereas stuffing, like we said, typically like people will stuff like the turkey, with that. Whereas dressing is usually made like on its own with the trimmings and drippings.
130 plus comfort food recipes for novice cooks. This is the debut hold in your hand, turn the page following the huge success of your ebook, Devon, that we had put into our pre-order. And with the time and now, the book is in our hands and here ready in time for Thanksgiving. So if you are that person who everybody been calling the Thelma of the family, who everybody know you can cook, what is the one recipe that if they follow it like you wrote it, they are going to be invited back next year?
Man, I would hope every recipe is like that, in the
There's got to
book.
be at least
Then
one
people
that
don't know how to pay attention and follow
right,
instructions.
right. It's not you, it's us. It's not your failure,
Exactly.
it's ours. But is there one like surefire that even Thelma couldn't mess up?
Man, and we're particularly talking, Thanksgiving wise or just all recipes.
It might be kind of cute if she came through with some goofy, clearly a summer recipe just because she knew that she could crush it. But like we want to stay seasonal and in the vein of Thanksgiving. So if there was the one thing that your cousin cannot cook, but
Yeah,
that you would suggest, just follow what I wrote and you can make this thing that impresses the people.
for sure. I would go to mac and cheese recipe. That's
Oh,
something I
oh,
feel
oh, pause.
I'm
Whoa.
pretty confident.
Tanya has a story.
Whoa.
Tanya has a story about a novice mac and cheese person that she is about to tell right now, and the names can
Man,
be changed to
Well,
to
no,
protect the innocent.
here's my only thing. Here's my only thing. If Thelma truly cannot cook,
I'm sorry,
she
Tanya.
should not be venturing to make the mac and cheese for this holiday season. Let her sit this one out. Let her get the
mhm.
book. Let her study the recipe, and let her come back next year and run that to the people at the table. Because otherwise, she might be banned from ever cooking again. Because as we know, when you mess up the mac and cheese for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for the major
In the
holidays,
highly melanated households, if you
people
mess
got a
up the mac and
problem.
cheese, it's
People
gonna be
people got
something.
a real problem with you after that. Okay.
Furniture might be
So yeah.
moved. Y'all
I
Oh
know,
all
but
man,
saw
you
that
know what?
video.
I
You-
love it because that tells me Devon is very confident about
for
his
sure.
recipe. You see what I'm saying? He was like, this mac and cheese recipe is so good. Even Thelma, who cannot cook, is going to follow this recipe. Bring
Sure.
it to Thanksgiving dinner and not get cussed out.
and
And
oh
that,
man,
that confidence, I appreciate that confidence.
Sure, got to. I mean, when it comes to food in general, I believe just really being in the spirit of like, hey, I want to make this. I want this to be good. I'm making this with love. I feel like that's half the battle right there. I feel like
It
when
is.
people go into it and they're, super nervous, like, oh, I don't know how it's gonna turn out. Like, I don't want anybody to talk about me. Like, you putting that energy into the food. So like,
mm,
you can't come at it like that. So I definitely think just being confident in yourself, that's a good portion of the battle right there. And like I said, everything I put in the book, I'm confident in. So if it's your first time cooking or your third time cooking, like I think you're gonna be good for real.
I love that. Last year, my friend did bring a mac and cheese, and she volunteered, and she's like,
Mhm.
listen, I've been working on this mac and cheese, and I've been getting a lot of rave reviews, and when I told people that, they were like, Tanya, what are you thinking? Like, you never let somebody appoint themselves the mac and cheese maker. It's
That
like
mm,
is
the mac and cheese maker is appointed. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so there's no appointing yourself.
This is like what
This is what I'm
Tyra told
told.
us on Top Model. You don't ask to be a model. You are asked to be a model.
And you know what though? I still stand by that decision to let her bring, because you're right. She was confident in what she could bring. And even though it maybe missed the mark a little bit,
Hmm.
the love that she put into it. I saw her the other day. She was like, you know what? And I've gotten better. Give me another try. Put me in again. And truly, I would. I think that, so much of Thanksgiving is the love that you put into the food. And truly, like you said, you're a side family. A lot of us are sides family. There's a lot of other sides to go around, but that's just me. That's just
There
me. I'm not
are
person over
no other
macaroni
sides. Macaroni and cheese is the only side. We know that mac and cheese, I almost said black and cheese, help me, Lord. We know that mac and cheese is like, it is the gold standard.
As someone who cooks a lot, what are just some easy ways that people can do a feast, make it good, and get it on the table without really getting into the stress of it all? We're talking about entertaining with ease. And I know that as lovely as the holidays are with the entertaining, sometimes people do get stressed out because it becomes overwhelming. So, what are your tips?
Yeah, I definitely say, grocery shop as soon as possible. Just like kind of like y'all spoke on earlier. I don't like doing it, but sometimes night before, even day of, I'm guilty of it. But to make things as less stressful as possible, the further out you can get things, you don't got to worry about bumping into people in the store and stuff like that. And prepping ahead, prep is huge. So if you could prep a couple days in advance, depending on the ingredients that you're using, already have things chopped up, put in a container, already set aside. When it comes time to cooking, you just throw everything together. But if you wait until the last minute, rushing out, going to get stuff, you might be missing something. Now you got to call somebody and tell them to go get it. That's stressful. So,
Yeah.
definitely prep and planning and, just scheduling when you want to make certain dishes, that definitely helps.
Oh, I love that. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because scheduling the dish is something that I've started to try and do, right? Obviously, there are dishes that you're going to make day of because you have to, but then there are other dishes, potato salad, for instance, which to me tastes better after, a couple of days. So, how do you kind of get your schedule together?
Yeah, so if it's like a side dish like that, like a potato salad, like a tuna salad, or even like deviled eggs, like stuff like that, you can make a couple days in advance. And particularly, like you said, with potato salad, when those like spices and stuff sit, it gets even more flavor. So stuff like that you can make in advance. I don't know if people do spaghetti at their holiday dinners. Mine does sometimes. That's something you can make in advance. And that while that's sitting, that can get even more flavor. Then you just reheat it.
So, if you're a starter host this year, is there a formula that makes sense? Like, let's say four sides, two meats, one vegetable. What do you think makes sense to have like a very well rounded Thanksgiving meal, but one that's not overly stressful?
For sure. So, let me see. I feel like it goes back into just the planning and prep. You don't want to be one of those families that, even though it's technically Thanksgiving dinner, we don't want to be eating around 7 o'clock. Like the food should be done around noon. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So the sooner you could prep everything, get everything on the table, the better. But let's say you are one of those families, just have something, set out for people to nibble on when they come to your house. You don't want to just sitting around and waiting. But definitely side base, the more sides, the better. When it comes to like the entrees, like the meats and stuff like that, if you do turkey, get a turkey. If you do ham, get a ham. Fried chicken, have that. But yeah, it's a side based holiday for the most part. So you really only need about 2 to 3, main like meat proteins. And yeah, I'll probably say about 4 sides and you should be good. And have like bread, whether you make it from scratch, like, biscuits or something like that, or like the dinner rolls, things like that. You want to have that. You need some starch for people to, sop up the gravy and all that with, so gotta have that on the side.
Before we let you get out of here, tell us where we can get the debut book. Let's get into
Yeah,
it.
for sure. Let's get into it, man. just my life's work up to this point, I guess I could say. You can get it, pretty much anywhere books are sold. Barnes and Noble, Amazon, Books a Million, anywhere books are sold, you can get it. If you want to find a direct link, you can go to my website, royaleeats.com, and there's a link right at the top. You click there, and it take you right where you can get the book at.
Let us know where we can find you on social.
Yeah, all social medias, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, at Royale Eats, ROYALEEATS.
Well, more to come. We're glad that you were able to join us on Talking Carts today. We should do this again, yes?
Yeah.
Definitely should. I appreciate y'all. This was fun.
All
Yeah.
right, talk
Thanks for
soon.
being here.
All right,
Thank you.
take care.
We are turning to one of the smartest people we know in the room, and he is in the building at Consumer Reports as the director of product and food safety research and testing. I'm talking about Dr. Jim Rogers, who is here, who is going to save us from being talked about for the next 365 days after Thanksgiving, that you ain't make somebody sick with whatever you call yourself cooking, as my grandmother would say. Jim, welcome to Talking Carts.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Pleasure. So
Mhm.
just right off the rip with you, I want to know, is there a thing that we should guard against that we might not be as conscious as we think we are?
Well, that's an interesting point, Brian. I'm glad you brought that up because there are actual studies out there where at the USDA or the FDA, they will bring a bunch of consumers in and have them cook a dish, and they
Hmm.
will videotape them, and they will ask them afterwards, well, how many times did you wash your hands after handling the chicken? And how many times did you wipe up the spill on the counter and whatever? And they'll say, oh, yeah, I washed my hands 10 times. But the tape will tell you that that's not true. In fact, it may be significantly less than what
Yeah,
they thought they did. And
right.
so I think that food safety has to be ingrained with your cooking, and you have to become aware of what are the advices or the advice out there on how you should do it. So, for instance, if you're preparing the chicken,
Here we
and
go.
after you have it to the side, wash your hands,
Yeah.
right? Wipe up the sink, wipe up where you prepared the chicken. But you have to constantly think, I mean, in between different dishes or taking out the trash or whatever, you gotta wash your hands. And gloves are good, but it doesn't solve everything. So just washing your hands, constantly or in between dishes would be a great start for a lot of people to start doing because most people are not as clean as they think they are.
That is devastating. Jim, you were the star of
Mhm.
a popular Consumer Reports video of 5 things I never do as a food safety expert.
Mhm.
And number one, right out the gate, you stirred the ancestors and said the number one thing you never do as a food safety expert is wash raw chicken. And this
Mhm.
man is a scientist, a doctor, put some respect on his name, standing on business and science. And he is telling you all to break the bonds of washing that chicken.
Mhm.
Do you still stand by this advice that we are not meant to be washing
Mhm.
poultry in our kitchen?
Well, Brian, I warned CR. I said, if we say this, we're going to take the heat, right? We're going to have some incoming. We're going to take some strays because I knew from my previous experience with food safety at the USDA that that is
Yeah.
really part of culture for
Yeah.
Hmm.
many groups, right? That is a part of history where mom did it, grandma does it, auntie does it, etc. And so I knew it was coming. I totally knew it was coming. But I still have to stand on it, Brian, because the data still says that number one, washing your chicken does not reduce the total amount of bacteria, especially pathogens that could make you sick, right? So it doesn't do what you might think. It may do something aesthetic because maybe there's a slime or something like that. But we said in the piece, you take that off with a wet towel, dispose the towel, wash your hands, and continue on. And so I don't change that. I think we still should push the message that washing your chicken, washing your turkey, Cornish hens, duck, whatever you're because the poultry industry is known to have an issue in the United States with
Hmm.
salmonella, campylobacter. Those are two bacteria that can cause foodborne illness.
Sure.
You have a good chance of when you bring that chicken from the grocery store, that turkey from the grocery store, it's going to have some bacteria on it and it could have pathogens on it. So play it safe and don't cross contaminate your space by washing your chicken because you create these aerosols. And I think we put up a picture at CR of a cloud of possible bacteria that you do
Yeah.
as you're spraying the chicken. And it doesn't really do what you think it's going to do. The only thing that kills those bacteria is heat. Cooking is a kill step. And so you're going to carry those bacteria along with you until you stick that bird in the oven or fry that chicken or whatever. And so you just have to be careful all along the way as you're preparing that food.
Dr.
Yeah.
James Rogers said what he said. Go argue with your mama.
We've put the PSA out there. We've told them, listen, this is not what you're supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
But the caveat that you may still do it,
Mhm.
we want to keep people as safe as possible. So if you wash that chicken, what's that next step? What do people need to make sure they do
Mhm.
after they've done that?
So if you're
Right.
going to wash your chicken, I would have every surface cleared on the counter, on the islands, finish that, wipe everything down with warm soapy water, and then move on to the next stage of what you're cooking.
So the next stage of what I'm cooking is that big, beautiful bird who's the
Mhm.
star of the show. And I know
Mhm.
you get down in the kitchen as well, Jim.
Mhm.
So how can I brine a turkey safely? And for those
Mhm.
who are not hip to the brining yet, it will unlock
Mhm.
moisture and make your turkey something they talk about the
Mhm.
year after. Like I have a big vat that I put, and it's
Mhm.
only for brine and turkey, BT
Mhm.
dubs, but I put the turkey in it, covered in water with some salt and some sugar, peppercorns, flavoring agents, bay leaves, all the thing, and just leave it to soak for at least 24 hours
Mhm.
before is my method. So I like the day before and brining that turkey. Am I like at risk of killing my family?
Well, I used to brine my turkeys too, Brian, and I've moved to injecting my turkeys now.
Hmm.
So I avoid the brine, and then I can get, the seasonings right up under into the meat of the turkey. That's what I've done. But what I would say is that you have to be extremely careful about how you're getting rid of that brine, because again, it could be basically a bacterial soup. Um,
Yeah.
and so if you can't pour it outside like I do into the grass or into the garden, just be careful about pouring it off into the sink and then immediately start cleaning that surface area again because you may have created an aerosol of those bacteria
Oh my
coming out
God.
as you pour the brine off. So that's what I would suggest.
Okay, now you two are cooks. You're used to doing the turkey every year. I don't do turkey, but for the people who are like, okay, I'm giving it a go this year. What do they need to know about the thawing? Because I even one of our colleagues at Consumer Reports, she was like, we did not get the turkey on the table because
Mhm.
she just didn't give herself
Yeah.
enough prep time to thaw the turkey and properly, get it onto the table. So what do people need to know about thawing?
If you're going to buy a frozen turkey, you need to really plan ahead. So you need to get the turkey, I would say, at least a week ahead of time for Thanksgiving. Now, that's a big piece of meat that has to take up space.
Mhm.
However, the recommendations is that you thaw it in a
In the
refrigerator
fridge.
with a pan to catch any, it's called weepage, but any of the liquid that comes off during freezing. And if it's a big turkey, it may take a couple days to thaw. But you do not thaw it on a countertop because you'll have the outside that'll be warm, maybe warm enough for bacteria to grow. You'll have the inside that'll still be cold and frozen because it's going to defrost from the outside in, right? And so you take the time and plan for thawing it in the refrigerator. It may take 2 or 3 days. You can use like a probe to see, or a straight piece of metal to see if it's has defrosted all the way through. And then you start off from there. But do not defrost it in the oven. Do not defrost it in the microwave if it fits. Plan on the defrosting it in the refrigerator for 2 or 3 days until that frozen turkey is then ready for you to start work on it.
So
Don't be last minute with it, is
No,
pretty
no,
much what you're
no, no,
telling
no.
people.
Mhm.
where is the most danger? Is it in the prep stage the cooking stage or the serving stage?
I think that let me add the fourth stage
I was
of
going to say,
storing the leftovers,
The
right?
yes.
leftover. Okay.
Um, your Probably the most risky is the prep stage because
Mhm.
everything's raw, nothing's been cooked. You could be rushing and hurrying, so you may not be able to do the things you're supposed to do. When you cook it, cooking's a kill step. So that's going to reduce and eliminate the majority of the bacteria anyway, except for the stuff you don't cook, such as the fresh, fresh salads and so on and so forth.
Salads.
Then you put it on the table. You're only supposed to have your food out, when you're doing your presentation for about 2 hours before you should start thinking about putting it in the refrigerator. And then that 3 to 4 day window of leftovers in the refrigerator time. Strip down that turkey if you have a turkey and get that meat off it as soon as you can and get that in the freezer or the refrigerator because that big carcass basically comes to room temperature, bacteria start growing. So you want to get the meat off of that and stick that in the refrigerator. So prep number one, sitting on the table number two, and then in the refrigerator for leftovers number three would be the top three.
Yeah, if you're
Mhm,
like me
mhm,
and other people who kind of prep in advance, not necessarily
mhm,
the day of, does that rule follow as well? Like, let's say you're serving a lasagna, because you spoke about
mhm,
that with the previous guest, on Thanksgiving Day, Christmas
mhm,
Day, whatever it is, but you're prepping the meat in advance. How many
mhm.
days do I have?
Again, I would say 3 to 4 days,
Okay.
unless you want to freeze it and then thaw it and then finish the lasagna itself. So I would still say 3 to 4 days before you're going to cook it.
Love that. So don't try and
That's what I would
start
do.
cooking the weekend
Uh,
before. We don't
yeah,
know. We can't. We
Oh,
can't do that.
oh,
We
yeah.
can't do that.
yeah, because then people still think, like to Jim's point, that they still got that additional 4 days after Thanksgiving.
Right.
So if you know made the lasagna last week, and they're like, "Oh, she made this Thursday," and then they keep it another, it's like you're limping into the the zone
It's
of
dangerous territory
right.
now. It's
It's
Well,
dangerous
now, if
dangerous.
she
territory.
makes it 3 to 4 days before and cooks it, then the
Yeah.
clock starts again, right?
Okay.
Because remember,
Because
cooking's a
the
kill step,
kill.
right? Because when it's sitting there day after day in the refrigerator, you can have bacteria start growing and then hopefully not pathogens, but sometimes you can um, uh, have bacteria that will grow that can hurt you, even if it's growing in the refrigerator. So that's why they say 3 to 4 days.
Yeah,
So
and what kind of
we.
containers should we be using?
Mhm,
Sometimes people like to
mhm.
make the meat and then they just put they put the pan in and put the top over it and just
Yeah,
throw it in the
yeah,
fridge. But like, do we need to make sure that we are
yeah.
using like the proper containers to make sure that like the
Mhm,
as many pathogens as possible
mhm.
stay out?
Well, we've done studies at CR that there are some plastic containers that have certain chemicals in it that we want to avoid, such as phthalates, etc. So at my house, what we've slowly done is replaced all the plastic containers with glass and glass with tops that are pretty
Love a
secure on
Pyrex
top
at
of
my
them.
place.
Right. We've gotten rid of all that Chinese carry-out black plastic stuff. We certainly do not microwave in plastic because the heat can help you release these chemicals that are in there. And so, what I would advise is that the containers be shallow so the temperature can go down quickly once you put it in a refrigerator. I prefer glass with a good secure top. You can use some plastic wrap or whatever occasionally, but you know that doesn't hold up for a long time. But that's what I would advise: glass containers with a good secure top that you could store in your refrigerator. And then, unfortunately, what I've seen or experienced, if I'm going to freeze something, I do use freezer bags. There's some people that are concerned about the plastic freezer bags.
Oh.
I haven't seen a whole lot of data that tells to go against that. So that's what I use in the freezer. Sometimes plastic wrapped, sometimes foil wrapped really, really tightly, but I tend to lean toward freezer bags.
So
Yeah.
not
Also,
that.
I like freezer bags because just of the fit. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Like
Mm,
sometimes too many containers,
Right.
yeah.
it's hard to fit everything in. So I'm good for pulling out a
Hmm.
plastic bag to make sure everything just fits in and gets into the refrigerator or
Yes,
freezer.
I
So
agree. I agree.
In all of this, I didn't hear any mention of that country crock container that used to have the margarine inside that I packed full of sweet potatoes or stuffing or like all. So break up with those country crock and those other little repurposing
Right.
the homemade, for lack of a better word, Tupperware, which is a brand name that we have created. Well, I happen to know that Consumer Reports, in the labs, we recently tested 25 popular food storage containers, and you can go and see all of the ratings and the full report there at cr.org, where we had all of those tests. But I can tell you
Mm,
that CR does only test glass, stainless steel, and silicone models of food containers because of
mm,
exactly what Dr. Rogers pointed
mm,
out, that those, listen, we talk about microplastic and plastic around, but reheating those containers really does release some volatile things that we are best avoiding ingesting. But I can tell you also that Consumer Reports test of those 25 popular food storage containers did yield a recommendation. And Jim talked about that transition that his family has made of getting rid of all those takeaway things and the plastic. IKEA's 365 plus food storage containers, the 34-ounce container, which is enough to carry what is essentially like a restaurant style
mm.
takeout box. 34 ounces will do you right if you're leaving Thanksgiving. Folks won't be talking about you when you leave. If you only leave with one 34-ounce container, they're $13. They're made of glass. They have an extremely durable rating in our drop test, and the lid stays firmly on, giving an impressive seal, and the top is transparent, so you can see through. So it is actually a CR recommended best of the year food storage container. So
Mm.
$13
That's good
won't,
value.
yeah,
Yeah.
it won't break the
Yeah.
bank. It's not like going down to the grocery store and getting those plastic ones that come this high. But as you do transition and do better, like $13 for 34 ounces, get
Mm.
one this year, put one in the stocking stuffer, like, and by the time you know it, you will be free from the chains of that country crock tub and all those repurposed takeout things, right? So
Yeah.
we can do better. We can do better. And you deserve it to yourself and your family to
Mm.
spring for something that's going to keep you healthy and be safe all year long. So
Yes.
IKEA 365 food storage container, 34 ounce, $13. CR's recommendation, one of the best food containers of the year.
Well, Jim, thank
Mm,
you so much for
mm,
joining us,
mm.
for running down all the food safety tips. Hopefully, after listening to you that day after,
Mm.
ooh, my stomach is not feeling quite
Yeah.
right,
Not this
will not be
year.
happening.
Yeah, and I guess we want to also care about our guests. We don't want to do anything in the kitchen that
Right.
will make our guests ill, our family members ill, and then we get a reputation and that we don't know what we're doing in the kitchen. They'll never eat our food
Gotta keep
again.
up that
So
reputation.
so we really don't want that to happen this holiday. We want it to be a joyous holiday, a healthy holiday, and there's some very good significant steps that you can take when you're cooking to help ensure that. So
Thank you, Jim.
hey, no
Thank
problem.
you,
Glad to be here,
Jim.
and thank you for inviting me.
I love that he said you are responsible for your own. At the end of the day, ultimately, you're responsible for your own health and safety. And if you're cooking, it's a doubly responsible thing too. So you want to keep all the folks safe. But Tanya, before we leave today, I wonder, there are a bunch of meal deals going on right now since folks are really feeling a lot of things with the way this economy is set up. There's some major retailers bringing major value to the table with these meal packages that promise to satisfy 10 people for as little as $4 per person during the holiday time.
No,
So
I mean that's it. You want to talk about value? That is, you can't beat that.
So we got a little list together of some of the providers in the meal deal section. And right out of the gate, the people at Aldi with 2,600 US locations are the ones who have promised a $40 meal deal that'll feed 10 people And they have it right now. It includes 21 things, including a 14-pound turkey, rolls, cranberry sauce, mac and cheese, stuffing. They have a whole printed list that you can go and do the $40 meal deal for 10. Who else has one, Tanya, that you think is interesting?
I mean, Walmart also has a $40 holiday meal deal. And so this is going to be taking place at 4,600 US locations. Walmart is expanding the holiday cheer with brand new one click meal baskets inspired by customer feedback. And they're making it easy to celebrate all season long. Now they have like a gluten-free Thanksgiving meal. They have a balanced Thanksgiving with swaps. They also have a prime rib meal basket. So
Okay.
I think it kind of like runs the gamut, right? Like it depends on what you want and what your guests love, but there seems to be a little something for everyone.
So that is the $40. We got some folks in the middle at Sam's Club. They have a meal that they said serves 10 for just under $100. And the folks at Costco have a gourmets. They got the Costco gourmet, $199.99 for their meal deal. But I'm looking at Whole Foods. They also have a meal deal, and Williams Sonoma. We're getting into Tanya territory
Yeah,
now.
I was gonna say, you
Like
want
break
to
down
feel a
what they
little
got
fancy for Thanksgiving.
at the
They got a
Williams
deluxe
Sonoma.
Thanksgiving
Yes.
for $2.99, and then it's a $15 delivery. But it includes a
Hmm.
pre-brined organic turkey, and it serves 4 to 6.
Okay, so
So, and it
that
has like all the things that you'd want on your table: the bird, the mashed potatoes, Brussels sprouts. Yeah, yeah.
at
that's
the
that's
top of the
that's
heap.
definitely my territory.
Yeah, I'm like when I saw Williams Sonoma and Whole Foods, I'm like, okay, this is Tanya's table. We're making it to Whole Foods had the 399.99, and they included a whole roasted turkey as well as a maple bourbon ham. So that they say they call it their feast for 12. So $400. There you go. So that's Tanya Land. But on the other end of the deal, what do our friends at Popeyes have for us this year?
Oh boy. So Popeyes has a 54.99
Yes.
deal. And it's 11 to 13 pounds pre-order for in-store pickup. That is their Popeyes Cajun turkey. So if you don't want to do the turkey yourself, listen, I'm all for picking up a little something and doing the rest. You a little cheat here and there never hurt anybody. Okay, so if you want to do all the sides but you don't feel like doing the turkey, Popeyes has their Cajun turkey, and you know there's something there for everyone. The
Yeah.
meal deals we ran down, I feel
Yeah.
like there is something there for
Right.
everyone in every budget price point. So we love that. Again, we're Consumer Reports, so there is no advertising involved. These are just what's out there. We want to make sure that people are informed and they know that they have options. We love options.
We love options. It's a time of sides. So there's something in there for everyone. And we hope that there was something in this episode of Talking Carts entertaining with ease for you. So share it,
Yeah.
tell a friend, listen again, run it back. Let the world know that we're here and we're a resource. So Talking Carts at CR is here for you.
Yes. Now, before we wrap up, give me 2 tips on saving money.
I'm accepting all invitations to go and eat at other people's homes. And I'm showing up with my IKEA 365 container to take leftovers home. Is one way that I'm saving money. And the other thing is that I'm buying private label. Anything that is going in that folks don't have their prying eyes on will be private label, i.e., store brand. So if you like French's onions, you'll love Francine's because I'll be buying everything that goes into it, great quality, shopping not at eye level. So all those national name brand are going to be at the eye level. All of your Progresso broths and French's onions and stovetop stuffings, they paid the cost to be the boss. They're right at your eye level. I'm looking 2 and 3 levels down on the supermarket for things that are just as
Bottom
high
shelf.
quality. Hey, jet bottom shelf. But they're just as good. They have
Yes.
money back quality guarantees, and they save you at least 25% over the national name brands. So if it got a commercial, it's probably not going to be on my Thanksgiving dinner table. Put it that way. What are you doing to save money this holiday, Tanya?
Okay, so even though, sometimes I am at the supermarket day of, day before, I will be looking through the circulars every week, starting now, leading up to the holiday to see what's on sale. And
Yes.
then the other thing I'm doing, and me and my family, we do this every year, at a certain point, we just use the same discount card. So places like ShopRite, they will, if you spend a certain amount of money,
You hit that
they
100.
give you a free turkey.
Yeah.
And so I might not spend that much all by myself, but between me, my sister, my parents, we definitely spend that amount. And we only need one turkey.
Yes,
So,
the collective. I love that.
yes,
Sharing
it's a
that, we put in
collective.
that same phone number and we gonna get that
Yep.
$100. So we're gonna get that free turkey.
Yes. Yeah. So those are my two ways of saving
I love
this
that.
holiday season. We've gone over so much, Brian. We have really gotten into the nitty gritty of the
Yes.
holidays and entertaining. So I just want to leave us with a few more tips. And this is all about entertaining with ease. First of all, you want to simplify the menu. So choose dishes that can be prepped ahead of time.
Mhm.
Also, stagger the cooking times and serving dishes to keep the kitchen calm, right? We talked about making sure that it's clean when guests come. There's not a bunch of dishes piling up. So do that. Also, delegate. As hard as it may be for some people, like the ones who want to do everything, no, delegate.
Yeah.
Every guest can bring one item or handle one task. Even if you don't want everyone cooking, they can at
Yeah.
least handle one task. And that really could be, okay, can you do the playlist for Thanksgiving dinner? They can do
Mhm.
something. Also, do not forget self-care.
Mm.
Take 10 minutes before guests arrive to decompress and reset your energy.
I love that. And if they ask you to bring the ice, you might need Let's Get Into It by Royale Eats so you can work on your cooking skills all year so you can put yourself in pole position to be invited to make the
Exactly.
macaroni next year. So get Royale's book and make sure that you're practicing from now on so they don't just ask you to bring the ice, man. Just bring the ice.
Exactly. All right, so now we've gone over ways to save big, to cook safely,
Yes.
and some shortcuts if you're entertaining this season. But we also want to remind you that good entertaining doesn't have to mean overspending, right? We also talked about the meal deals and how to get things for less. It's being about resourceful. It's about being resourceful, not perfect, right? Because we're not
Mm,
perfect here.
I love that.
So as we close out, remember our guest, Von Mosley, follow him. Take some of those tips. Thelma, I hope you were listening. So, so next year you actually have a proper dish to bring to the family dinner. Okay, he has recipes and
Yeah.
cookbook, and an amazing cookbook. So, dig in, enjoy that. Also, Consumer Reports. That's going to be your go-to for safe
Absolutely.
shopping and product guides. So don't forget to check us out.
All year long. This is the time where it all comes together. You can prove what you learned all year and share it with your friends and family, from Friendsgiving to Thanksgiving to whatever you celebrate around the table. We got you, like we said from the beginning. So cr.org. Go there, like, subscribe, join, become a member today so we can keep this train coming. Since it's all sponsored by the members, we are ad free and unbiased for news, reviews, updates, advocacy. We got it all here. So thanks for joining us on Talking Carts, entertaining with ease.
Yes, until next time.